So the past week I've been working on getting this thing tuned, working with the AGP. Gotten to the point where we got the basic tune done, working on the wide open throttle tunes, seeing what she does. The only thing is I did not have my wideband installed at all on this thing. So I've been working on that, and I've seen a bunch of videos of people running it through. Let me see. What are those other wires coming through? Because that kicks out back behind the brake booster, down in there. I really did not want to try to fish wires down in there. I wanted something a little bit different. And on my setup, I don't have my stock boost gauge right there anymore. It's been moved to the A-pillar. There it is. So it's been moved to the A-pillar. So I don't have any gauges right there. So I'm planning on putting the wideband AFR gauge there, and then also probably an oil pressure gauge right there. So I was thinking, well, okay, gauge is gonna be right there. Well, it'd be the easiest way to go straight out that way and down the firewall, down to run the wideband. So I started pulling everything apart, trying to figure this thing out. Took more apart than I probably needed to, but I was really learning. So this is what I came up with. So if you look down in here, you can't really see. Let me see if we got a flashlight, but there's a grommet down in there for the wiper motors, for the wiring. Let's see. There she is. That grommet right there. That goes straight out. You can't see through there. That goes right behind that vent duct. So what I did was, and I know they make tools for it, but I do not have it. So I know they make like a stabbing tool. Basically it's a hollow giant needle, and you stab it through grommets and then you can run the wires through it. I don't have that. So what I did was, because it's such a tight spot, took a razor blade, a pair of surgical pliers or scissors or whatever the hell you want to call these, heated it up till it's nice and red hot, and just push straight through that grommet. So I got my O2 sensor harness, or wideband sensor harness, whatever, ran through that grommet, and then I drilled a hole in here so it can go straight down, and it pokes out right there, and then this will go to the O2 sensor. So I'm gonna do all this, get all the wiring done. I'm still waiting to get the bung installed on this one, and I'll show that later, but I want to get the wires ran first. So, and also, like I said, I'm probably going to be running the oil pressure sensor, so I'll probably run it out the same way and then put it on the side of there. So it's in the center, so it's like the center point of everything. My gauge is going to be in the center, so I figure it's just going to be a better solution overall. Like I said, I've seen people go through there. I've seen people go through the floor, just drilling a hole through the floor and going straight up. I'd rather do a little bit different, and I'm going through there. So that is a possibility. That is the easiest way. And like I said, literally you push it through there and it pops up on the other side. Like this. So it pops out right behind that ductwork. You can see I have the wires tucked underneath there. I'm gonna have it tucked nice and tight right there, and she comes out right where I want her. So shortest possible path for this setup. So I'm gonna keep on going. I'm gonna clean her up, get everything back together. I gotta work on the power wires, which I'm gonna be running running across from here up the A-pillar, across the dash, and then there. And I'm gonna tap into one of these fuse spots. But yeah, do take note, this is 05, and literally everything's cracking, breaking, and falling apart. So don't be yanking or pulling on these things too hard, because you will be breaking panels all the fucking time. So But yeah, I'm gonna keep at it, get this power wire ran and everything like that, and hopefully I can get my wideband set up so I can do some more data logs and get this tune figured out. And I did find out though on this, so ever since I got this thing, as you can tell, I'm gonna get a bunch of hate for it. That's my boost controller. Cheap $15 eBay, Amazon boost controller. I do not like it. I'm gonna change it. But for the time being, it works. But ever since I got it, I noticed I can't get the boost controller to work. No matter what I did, all the way left, all the way right, it changed nothing. As soon as I hit about $3,000, it just starts spiking and flying past 20 psi. And I really don't want that right now. I want to get her mild. I want to make her drivable, fun to play with, but I don't want to make crazy power right now. But the boost the boost controller wouldn't control anything. So I started digging into it and kind of find out, if you look, they had the boost controller running to the top port, not the bottom port. So basically, I was keeping this wastegate shut no matter what I fucking did. So this is just the atmosphere. This keeps the stuff out of it. And then I don't think you can see it, but I ran the actual boost controller to the bottom. So now it's actually operating the wastegate and doing what she should, which is awesome, because now I'm able to get it over 3,500 RPMs. Because before, like I said, I stand on about 2,500 RPMs, and at about 3,500 RPMs, I already passed 20 PSI, and I was like, nope, ain't doing it. So I let off. And now, since I got her about 15 PSI, stand on her about $4,000, she lights up. So I need to get back to this and go from there. Almost done. Trying to put everything back together. I've got everything ran when it needs to be ran. So if you look here, that is my power wire, and I grounded it out to one of the bottom fuse box screws. So that's on, and that's ran in here, back behind here, up here. So you have this piece that runs underneath the gauges, and it actually has to be pinned that way. So you have to make sure you go underneath it and be in between the gauge cluster and that pin, run her over top of the gauge cluster. So I did have it ran over the steering column, but like I said, if you try to run it up this way, it gets in the way of that pin from sitting in properly. So you run it behind the gauge cluster, and then I got it all wired out here, and the gauges will just go right there. So trying to put everything back together. I got both of the wires coming out the firewall up there. Went ahead and ran the oil pressure gauge sensor wiring through that same grommet. So everything's running through that grommet up there, and then power just goes straight over there. I've already tested it, plugged it up, she works. So you just got to make sure when you're wiring these gauges in, you're doing it to a fuse that has power only with ignition. So I put mine on the wiper motor. That's 25 amp fuse, so that should be plenty for these gauges. But yeah, so you just got to make sure you find a fuse that has only ignition power, not all the time power, because your gauges will never turn off. So trying to get her back together. Once again, everything's brittle. Everything wants to break. I think I only have one alignment pin left on this dash pad, but she's sitting pretty good. Trying to get her sitting as best she can with the age of the car and everything like that. So, and of course, you know, Dodge goes, I don't want to say cheap, but they go cheap. It's a Dodge dash. You gotta be careful with her. My third gen out there, luckily, fingers crossed, hasn't cracked yet, which is very surprising. But gonna start buttoning her up, and I'll show y'all how I have it ran out the firewall and go from there. Finally wrapping up. So tomorrow I'll be actually putting the bung in so I can put the O2 wideband sensor in. But got everything ran, just tied up for right now. I did get my 3-bar tip sensor in there. I just zip tied it to the existing bracket, so that's good. Got that done. Get everything back on. Got to figure out. So got that wedged up in there. Got to figure out how I want to mount it, but that's the biggest thing. They work, thank God. But yeah, so like how everything turned out. I like the position of that. I like how I got the wires running out that way. So the only thing left is to get that O2 wideband sensor in, get that put in, get that bung put in, all that good stuff. I already got the wires set, so all I have to do is drop it down, tie it up, plug it in, and then we can start making some wide open throttle pulls and get this thing dialed in. That's it for tonight until tomorrow, and I start working on it again and getting everything wrapped up. But let me know. So when I bought this car, the first thing, like anyone does buying a car that they don't know anything about, is you go on YouTube and start researching, watching videos, learning, all that good stuff. And I don't know how many times I've watched a video on installing a certain part or trying to figure something out or anything to that extent, and the majority of the video is great. However, there's certain spots in that video where I'm like, crap, I wish they got a better shot of that so I can see how they did it, or I wish they explained it a little bit better, etc., etc., etc. It's one of the main reasons I'm doing these videos is, one, to show my builds, share my passion with y'all, my experiences and all that good stuff, and it's fun, I enjoy it. But also I want to be able to share my knowledge and my experience on working on these things and how I do certain things, how to take this apart, how to install that, how to figure out bugs, run into issues. That's the main reason I want to make these videos, is to help other people and educate. Or I'm not even educate, I'm not the guru on this, I'm just experiencing and working on these things firsthand. So if there's anything in my videos that you're like, hey, I want you to go in more detail on this, or show me how you ran this, or anything to that extent, let me know, comment below and let me know, and I'll be more than happy to make a video on that and post it up so y'all can see that, because more information the better on these things. Let's keep these things alive, because they stand out, they're rare, and they're just fucking cool, man. It's Dodge, when they get a wild hair and they decide to slap some stuff together and make a cool car that everyone just sleeps on. So, but yeah, if y'all have anything y'all want me to do or show or go into more detail, just let me know and comment below. Appreciate y'all, and y'all take care.